After playing Lego Fortnite for 30 hours or so, I decided I had experienced enough of the game to let you know if it's worth playing right now. Before we begin, if you decide to play Lego Fortnite or already are and are looking for a creator to support in the Fortnite item shop, use code Mediocre Milton to help support my channel. Let's get started. So first things first, this is the world that I have the least amount of time on. In fact, I'm still in the first biome. I haven't even left the first biome, so there's not going to be too many spoilers in this other than stuff you should see in the first biome. So let's talk about the overall gameplay loop of a Lego Fortnite. So you're going to basically spawn into a procedurally generated map, and you will normally spawn in the grasslands biome. I did one time create a world and spawn in one of the other biomes, but generally you will spawn in the grasslands biome, which is the first biome. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be exploring that biome and fighting enemies and collecting resources. After you do that, you'll be going in and crafting yourself gear. As you can see here, I have a sword, a pickaxe, and an axe. So there is different gear in the game. You can also craft charms that will increase your armor. You'll notice I have a bunch of hearts up at the top. You start with 3, and you get more hearts as you play through the game. After you do that, you're going to build up your village. So I have my nice little village over here, and once you build up your village, you'll start attracting some different NPCs. And as you're building up your village, you will be building new crafting stations. I'm not going to show off a lot of the crafting stations. Actually, I'm not going to show any of the crafting stations because I don't want to spoil anything. But essentially, you'll unlock crafting stations as you progress through the game. What that does is going to help you upgrade your village. You have a village center, which is like a little statue you place down. And you'll be able to see mine right there in the middle, next to the campfire. So the village, you'll upgrade that as you play through. And what that does is it unlocks new building pieces, new recipes, and it'll allow you to attract more NPCs to your village. After you do that, you're going to basically go out and you're going to collect some more resources. You're going to keep upgrading your village and crafting bench. You'll get more villagers, and then you can also assign your villagers with jobs to do. So an example, you could say, go collect nearby resources, and they'll go out and they'll collect wood or stone or sheep, which drop wool. They'll collect that, and they'll go do that for you. You can also give them other jobs like refining resources or making food for you and stuff like that. So you kind of end up at, once you get your village fully upgraded, you can have it pretty much set where you're not going to have to worry terribly much about resources or making food and stuff like that. The NPCs will be able to take care of a lot of that for you. So we'll just take care of the spider real quick. Once you've explored the overworld, what you're going to see here is you will also find yourself some caves. So let's see, there's a cave over here. So we'll go over to the cave. I'm not going to go in the cave because, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much. And I think I've probably already explored most of these caves. The caves are going to be essentially a second layer of the world. So you have the overworld and then you have the cave system. Each biome is going to have its own little uniquely diverse biome, like overworld, and it's also going to have caves inside of it that are also going to have different stuff inside of them. So when you go in the caves, you're going to basically repeat the same process. You're going to go in there, collect resources, upgrade your gear to collect more resources, fight the enemies that are in here, and then you will be able to upgrade your village. The end goal is to get a village in your biome up to level 10, and then you don't have to do that before you progress to other biomes, but if you want to unlock everything, you'll want to upgrade it to level 10, and you want to repeat that in each of the biomes. There's currently 3 biomes in the game. So as you can see here, there's a cave. We can hit enter. What that does is it kind of teleports you in there. So the caves are essentially unique instances that are separate from the overworld. And here we have a wolf. So while we're here, let's talk about the survival aspects. Top left corner, you're going to notice that there's a little green meter. The little green meter is going to be my hunger. So you're going to have to manage your hunger. You also manage stamina if you're running or swimming. There is only stamina for running or swimming, not for combat. So if I'm swinging my sword, my stamina is not going to change. If I dodge roll, my stamina is not going to change. And then you're also going to have to manage your temperature, which you're going to see underneath of that. So the temperature, if you're in a good state, you'll be in the little middle there. If you're cold, it'll start going blue. And if you're hot, it'll start going to the red. If you get to the far ends of the meters, you'll end up starting to take damage. So you do have to manage your temperature. Different biomes will have different temperatures. You can see an icy mountain over there. There's also a desert. Obviously, one will increase your temperature and one will decrease your temperature. Rain will also lower your temperature as well as nighttime, so you need to have a fire source nearby. You can just hold a torch, though, which will keep you warm. So now let's talk about the combat. So combat is essentially you can attack, you can dodge roll, you can block, you can also jump back. So we're just going to whack this guy here. Now, in terms of the combat is, I will say, it's serviceable. It's not terribly complicated. Once you understand the enemy's attacks, you can essentially just wreck them. Now, I do have my sword here is, I think, the best sword that I can have in this biome, so that's why I'm able to kill things pretty quickly. The combat does have ranged and melee, so there's a pretty decent... I mean, there's an okay diversity in terms of combat. You either do ranged or melee. We'll talk more about the gear selection a little bit later on. You will notice over there there's a rainbow, which we'll talk about in just a second. In fact, I'll just make my way over there as I'm talking. So I would say the combat's serviceable. It's a little bit, it's not the best, it's not the worst. It could use some improvement, and we'll see what happens over time. Next up is going to be crafting. So you're going to get standard resources. So like as an example, you're going to walk around, you're going to collect rocks. So we'll get granite here. You can cut down trees. So we'll hit this tree. It'll just show you. It's got the nice little cool feature there. Kind of looks like it's a Fortnite tree here. And when you cut that down, you get resources. You'll obviously get resources from bushes. You can get plants that you can pick up along the way. You can also collect resources from chests. So this house over here may or may not have a chest inside of it. Sometimes they're guarded by NPCs. Sometimes they're not. Here's another enemy over here. So we'll talk about enemies in a little bit later. So we're going to take care of this guy. Like I said, combat, once you get it, is pretty straightforward. So in terms of gathering resources, you'll notice most of the, if there's a pre-built structure, it'll have a chest. I've already explored this house, so that's why I've gotten stuff out of the chest. You'll also get resources from the rainbow. So at the end of the rainbow, you can get resources. There's also going to be supply drops like you would see in Fortnite Battle Royale. And there also will be little butterflies that pop up that are kind of rainbow colored, and if you follow them, they will take you to treasure. The treasure will either be a treasure chest, a llama, or sometimes it'll be a group of NPCs which you have to fight. So there's ways of that's basically ways of getting loot. Now, in terms of crafting costs, I would say the crafting cost for most things is pretty reasonable. There's nothing that's like just terribly expensive, but it's pretty easy to basically craft what you need to craft, and especially for building, which we'll talk about in just a second, the building cost is very, very reasonable. So I'm just going to find out where I am on the map. And I got to go back. We'll start going back because it's going to be nighttime soon. So in terms of exploration, you have a large procedurally generated world. So I've spent probably, I don't know how many hours I spent on this. I've just started going into the desert over here a little bit, but I've not really unlocked much over there. And I have not even gone to the mountains on this world. So the world is very large. I did see somebody build a flying machine and they just flew and flew and flew. I think the world goes on forever, but right now it's kind of like you'll hit a point where you hit water and there's just nothing but the water. I think that's just a placeholder for future biomes to come in the future. So there are 3 distinct biomes. We have the desert, which I showed you over there, the grasslands here, and then there's the mountains over there, and you'll notice now it is starting to rain. So if it's raining, we're gonna make sure we have a torch out, otherwise we will get cold. So in addition to that, there's also going to be the ability to build. So I'll just go inside of here so I'm safe. So I've built the fence around here because at nighttime, what happens, like in many survival games, bad guys will come out. In this case, it's going to be skeletons. So the skeletons will start spawning out of the ground. And honestly, if you don't have enough light sources, they can spawn inside of your fence here. So we may see some in just a second. The NPCs will also fight them for you. So for building options, you can go in here, and what you'll have for building options is going to be, you will have prefabs that you will unlock as you play through. So you can just build whatever these are. And when you place them down, it'll essentially give you like a little formula, and you place it down and you'll basically put it together like you would a Lego set. You can also build freeform. So you can just take a block here, put it down, and start building whatever you want. So everything you see here, I think in this world, I think everything I built here was, except for the fence, was using the prefabs. In the other worlds that I've created, I have built, actually this is freeform, this is built here. So nothing fancy here. I do have much fancier stuff that I have built in my other worlds. And I will say that the building is a little bit quirky, but once you get used to it, it is definitely going to be really fun. It's probably going to be what you'll put the most time into the game right now. So that's kind of the overall overarching, what the game is, what the systems are. And essentially your goal is going to be just to progress through the game, upgrade your village, and go to new biomes. Like I said, once you upgrade your village, you're going to unlock new things. You'll get more NPCs, you'll get more building pieces. And if you want to unlock all the building pieces, you're going to want to just build a village in each of the biomes and upgrade it to the maximum level, which is currently level 10. Let's shut the gate over here so skeletons don't get in. So what I want to do now is talk about what the game does really well. So what it does well, in my opinion, in fact, what it does the best is it really blends Lego and Fortnite together. So if you're wandering around in this world, it does kind of really look like a Fortnite world, but your characters are obviously Lego characters and the building is Lego pieces here. So there's currently Lego sets in the game in terms of like, these are the starter shacks, but there's also going to be Pleasant Park building pieces. There's also going to be a Lego set, and I fully expect there to be more in the future. So it does that really well. And it also incorporates the Fortnite stuff, like having supply drops, llamas. There's also going to be some of the recognizable drinks that you can get in Fortnite Battle Royale, such as the slurp juices. So you'll get those as well, and you can also craft them. It also allows you to have many, or probably most of your skins from Fortnite Battle Royale into the game. Currently there are, as of when the game released, I think there was something like 1,200 of the 1,600 skins that were available in Fortnite Battle Royale can be used in Lego mode. If it's one that's not able to be used, what'll end up happening is it'll just be a default skin, but that's pretty cool. You can also, it also lets you use a lot of your emotes. So if we go here, we'll just do best mates because You know that's kind of safe to use here. So there's a lot of emotes can also be transferred over as well, which is pretty cool. So you're not gonna have to come in and be like, oh, I gotta buy new skins and a new game mode. Everything you've unlocked in Battle Royale can be used here. With, like I said, 75% of them will be able to be, they'll actually look like them or look like a version of them. The others, I think they're working on. Some might not be able to come in because probably of license agreements, but for the most part, you're gonna be able to use most of your skins that you have unlocked. The next thing I want to talk about that Lego Fortnite I think does really well is the stamina system. So stamina is only used when you are running or swimming. Now you can turn that off in the options if you don't want to have to deal with it, because if you just don't want to have to deal with it at all. But not having to use it when you're harvesting resources. So if I just start cutting down a tree, you're gonna notice the stamina bar is not popping up here. In most survival games, you're gonna use stamina when you're doing that. What ends up happening is you'll spend a lot of time just standing around waiting for your stamina to replenish, especially early in the game when you have low stamina. So that's pretty cool. It also is not used in combat, although I will say I think it would make more sense for it to be involved in combat, at least a little bit. That way you can't just spam attacks. But maybe because of the way the game's overall designed, they're probably not going to end up doing that. Progression, I think, is done pretty well. So you're incentivized to go out and explore because you need to explore to get more resources to upgrade your village. Upgrading your village is going to get you more NPCs, which is going to help you out. And overall, the progression in each of the biomes, it feels like the foundation for the progression system. I really like it. So I think it's a good way. It's a good starting point, and I only expect it to get better in the future. And then last but not least is the building option. So you're not going to see it in this world because, like I said, I've only explored the first biome in this world. But there's a lot of different building options. You're going to unlock them as you progress through. Building in each biome is going to unlock more and more building pieces. Currently in the multiplayer world that I'm playing with my kids, we are building up in the desert biome to unlock the building pieces that's going to unlock, because that's kind of what I want to build out of. So there's lots of building options. You can do the prefab if you don't want to do anything fancy, or you can just freeform build everything. I'd probably recommend doing the prefabs at the beginning just so you can kind of get yourself started. And then once you find a place that you really want to build, or you can just knock down things, you will be able to just build whatever you want. And if you really like building in games, this is going to be the game that's probably right up your alley. So those are the things I think Fortnite does pretty well. Lego Fortnite does really well. And now let's talk about the things I think that need to be addressed, because the game is not perfect. So number one is going to be repairing gear and gear diversity. So the worst thing about the game at the beginning was the durability on specifically like your axes and pickaxes. They would break so fast that you were having to carry like 2 or 3 axes as you were going around collecting resources. Now, they have increased the durability, I believe, of the low tier stuff by like 30% and the higher tier stuff by 60%. So that was definitely a good start. And then along those same lines is going to be diversity of gear. So right now there's only going to be swords, pickaxes, and axes. And then you also have crossbows, and there's a shovel. But like weapon-wise, there's really not much option in terms of combat. You do have a shield as well too. But I'd like to see different types of weapons added to the game, and I'm sure they'll do that over time. The biggest thing for me in terms of the biomes is going to be, I really would like to see them have more enemy diversity. So the enemies you see in these biomes, like here's a roller over here. You're going to see these same enemies in each of the biomes. They're just going to be a different variation of them. So they're going to drop, like, some of them will drop different resources. Others will just drop the same resources. So there's not that many different enemies. There's like there's an okay amount for, I guess, for the starting, for the release of the game. But if you see a roller here, you're going to see a roller in other biomes. Same thing with the wolf over there. There's going to be wolves in each of the biomes. So the enemies are kind of repeated, and I think it'll be nice if they actually have more enemy diversity. And I would also like to see a boss in each biome. There is one mob that I guess you could technically call like a mini boss or something like that, because it's much tougher than the rest of the enemies. But honestly, they're just really not worth fighting right now because they only drop one resource, and once you get that resource, there's really no reason to keep fighting them. And you can also find the resource they drop in chests as well. So I would hopefully they'll add like maybe a boss or something like that to each of the biomes. That would be pretty interesting as well. Next up is more overarching goals. So right now your goal is basically to, and I'm not like completely opposed to this, like I've said in previous videos, or if you've watched any of my live streams, for survival games, I'm not opposed to just being dropped in the world and surviving as long, like just basically saying survive as long as you can. In this game, there's not really a story too much other than you're going to basically be upgrading the village. The NPCs will talk to you, so there is kind of a story going along, but right now there's no like, go do this quest and do this. It's basically upgrade your village, get more resources, go to the next biome, and rinse and repeat, which is perfectly fine, but I hope they add more stuff, and I fully expect them to do that. I'll talk about that in just a second. As an example for that, it might be like NPC quests, but like maybe the NPC will say, can you go out and collect me, like, I don't know, 10 wool or something like that, and I'll make you something. Or maybe go collect me 10 berries or something like that, and I'll make you something. Or just things like that, and it'll give you some type of reward for it, or maybe some kind of like XP or something like along those lines. Next up is going to be, there needs to be a faster way to travel. So this world doesn't really have it that much, but I will say that one of my kids started a world, And after we got through most of the grasslands biome and we started going to the desert because that's the second biome, we realized that the closest desert was a good 10 to 15 minute run away. And right now there is a way to travel, but it's just not that great. It definitely needs some improvement. So there needs to be better ways of fast traveling. I've seen people create some pretty cool stuff, like people created monorails and stuff like that, which is definitely a good way of going about it. But I really would like there to be like a fast travel system or a faster way to travel, not necessarily like, oh, give me portals, but maybe a better way of traveling. And without spoiling too much, like there's the current way you can travel. You can travel like pretty quickly, but it's not really, they just need to add some features to it to make it a little bit better. I'll leave it at that. And then last is going to be a way to increase your stamina. So your health can go up as you get craft charms and also from certain foods, but your stamina does not go up along the same line. So what I would like to see is either as your hearts go up, your stamina also increases by the same percentage, and or as you eat or certain foods would just increase your stamina bar. Now, of course, you can just turn stamina off if you don't want to deal with it, but I'm trying to get the full survival experience, so I'm leaving it on. So those are just the things that I think the game could do better. Now, what do I expect to see? Oh, look at that, we got double rainbow there. That's pretty cool. So if you're playing the game, go to the end of the rainbow. There's something cool there to see. I'm not going to show it off here. So what do I expect to see? And I guess I'll just go inside my house here because, well, we'll go inside this, we'll go inside this little shack over here so as to not spoil anything. My house does have some stuff in it that I don't want to show off because, like I said, minimal spoilers here. So what do I expect to see for this game in the future? Well, Fortnite loves to do battle passes. They have one in Fortnite Battle Royale. They've added one to the Rocket League Racing, and I think there might be one for the new music mode they've added as well, or there's some type of unlock system. There's not one for Lego Fortnite. I fully expect them to add some type of seasonal pass for this, where you're going to be unlocking stuff. That'll probably tie along with the quests, so expect maybe they'll give you daily or weekly quests or quests that unlock over time just to keep you playing and give you unlocks. I'm sure they'll tie some skins to it or some other cosmetic stuff. And along those lines, they'll probably end up adding back bling and perhaps gliders. There is a glider in this game, but right now I think it's just like a one color, like you can't change the color of it. And you'll notice I don't have any back bling on my character right now. Most people have lots of back blings. They probably have lots of gliders. So being able to have those in the game would also be pretty cool as well. More building options from both Fortnite and popular Lego sets. Right now, like I said, this is a Pleasant Park building set. That's going to be one of the first ones you unlock. And then these are just kind of like shacks. There's one building set currently from Lego, and I fully expect them to just incorporate more. I believe in the game files there was something for like a tilted towers. So expect many of the major POIs. And you'll notice the rainbow does go away once you hit certain time. So fully expect them from like the major POIs, maybe something like Greasy Grove or some of the other popular ones, Retail Row. Expect to see stuff from like those, as well as popular Lego sets. And then last but not least is going to be regular updates to keep you playing. Fortnite does this pretty well. In fact, they've kind of set a standard that many other developers can't stick with, and that's giving you more content at a frequency that will just keep you playing for weeks, months, and for many cases, people have been playing for years, or people will play and then they'll come back to it later on. So I fully expect them to regularly update this game once they get back into the swing of things after the holiday season. So is Lego Fortnite worth playing right now? If you're playing it right now, I'd say if you play through one time, if you're playing by yourself, and also depending on your map, your mileage may vary. If your biomes are close together, you get good cave spawns. Like the caves are the big thing. You have to have caves in the biomes. If you can't find caves, that's going to make it harder. If your biomes are really, like if the desert biome is really, really far away, that's going to make it take longer. So I would say it's probably going to take you maybe you'll probably get 20 or 30 hours out of playing it. If you play with a group, it's going to go a little bit faster because you can obviously collect resources and progress a little bit faster. But if you want to unlock everything, it might take a little bit longer. So you'll probably get a good amount of time out of it, and it's free to try. You basically just have to have a Fortnite account, go in, check the game mode out, and it's free to play. So right now, I think Lego Fortnite is in a really good place. Obviously, it has some room for improvement, and I fully expect Epic to dump a lot of resources into this because the game modes that they released were this game mode, the Rocket League game mode, the racing game mode, and the music game mode, and the Lego Fortnite game mode has had a much, much higher peak. I think the highest I saw was over 2 million, and it's also maintaining way more players than the other game modes. So I fully expect them to dump a lot of resources into this, and long term, this probably has the most monetization for them because they can just release like Fortnite Lego sets, and it'll just be a good crossover for both companies. So is it worth playing? Yeah, I think you should definitely try it out right now. You'll get a decent amount of time out of it. You'll get a good feel for it, and you can certainly come back when they add more content, or you can just keep playing as I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks and enjoying unlocking everything. So if you found this video helpful, make sure to use my creator code Mediocre Milton in the Fortnite item shop. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.